Welcome everyone. Today I'm going over the full financial system guide for businesses earning under $500,000 a year in revenue. You may be asking yourself, why specifically under $500,000 a year? Well, it's because I commonly see that business owners doing under this range have their entire finances as a mess. For example, they don't even have an LLC structured. They're overpaying in taxes. Their freaking cash flow is all over the place. And that's why I created this guide to get the entire system back in place how it should be. So all of this information is specifically from the guide I created that is about 11 chapters long, going from cash flow to taxes, reinvesting in the business, and many other things. So if you want more information on this, go ahead and grab the guide down below in the description. Throughout the entirety of this, I'm also going to have some templates, some checklists that I have linked in the description down below, which are also in the guide. So you might be asking yourself, who the heck is this kid and what the heck does he know about finances specifically for my business? Well, my name is Adrian and I'm a fractional CFO. I've been doing this for roughly a year and a half and have been able to help out a good amount of businesses where I got a good gist of where the financial system usually is for this revenue level. And if you're still like, I don't know, that's still not enough information. Well, I've been able to partner up with Jeremiah Ramirez, the CEO of the Marathon Group. Now, this man right here, he has been able to help out over hundreds of business owners with their businesses over the past 5 years alone. This is through his fractional and financial advisory firm, which he has been able to scale up to a multi-8 figures. And me and him partner up on every business that we work with to analyze, see what we're able to fix when it comes to the finances. Think of this partnership like Lamine Yamal teaming up with Lionel Messi. Or think of it as Anthony Edwards teaming up with Michael Jordan. Look, there's so many analogies I can make, but just think about it of the rookie of the year partnering up with the GOAT. So if you want more information about Jeremiah Ramirez, I'll make sure to put his website down below. But just know we have an amazing partnership that we guide business owners with. So chapter 1, know your real revenue. You might be saying, I know what revenue is. Well, we're going step by step from rookie to more of an expertise topic each chapter as we go. But all this information is super valuable and you're going to end up needing it. Look, this first step may seem super simple, but honestly, this is where most business owners mess up from day one. See, the balance you see in your bank account, it's not the real story. It doesn't know about bills coming next week, taxes you owe, or invoices that will honestly never get paid because there are always clients out there who don't even want to pay the invoices back regardless if you do the entire work. I'm sure you'll know the struggle. But if you're using that number to decide spending or investing, you're building your business the worst way possible. So your bank account says it has $10,000, but $4,000 are for bills, $2,000 are for taxes that are due, and at the end of the day, there's not much left. So looking at these numbers begin to trick you. The bank shows you today's money, but bills and taxes are eventually coming. So if we don't know what's coming in and what's going out, we can't plan for anything. That's the real problem. So here we're going to use an example of Sarah. She runs a marketing agency that makes $250,000 a year. Okay, so 70% of her clients are reoccurring clients on a monthly basis, which brings in $175,000 a year. 20% of her revenue comes from project work and 10% of her revenue comes from workshops. It's always important knowing where most of your revenue is coming from because this will allow you to stay stable on these top numbers and be able to identify where there might be some leaks. So the problem is you're flying blind with your income. When you don't understand your revenue, you make decisions like hiring, spending, marketing based on a wrong view. This begins to cause unpredictable cash flow, overspending, and financial stress you could avoid completely. So it's not just numbers, it's about stability, growth, and survival. So Adrian, what is revenue? Revenue is all money coming in before expenses, aka it's not profit. Profit is what's left after the expenses. So if you mix these up, and you'll begin to overspend and have a false confidence in your business. Adrian, what type of revenues is there? Well, there are 2 types of revenues. Recurring revenue like retainers or subscriptions gives you reliability and stability. Project revenue is often unpredictable and can vanish fast. So base your budget on your regular revenue, not just your best months. To create stability with projects, save more, review your pipeline each week, and base pay on your yearly average. I'm going to dive more into that. Plan bills and your pay from recurring money only. Treat project money as bonus for growth, debt, and emergencies. So build a 6 to 9 month of expenses in your savings. Track your project pipeline every week. Pay yourself from your 12-month average and begin to keep your cost extra lean. So this is my number 1 rule. Only count money when it hits your bank. You might be asking yourself, why, Adrian? Well, it's because clients pay late, invoices aren't cash, and pending money can cause cash gaps. This single shift changes everything because unpaid invoices are not revenue, pending payments are not revenue, so count it only when it's in your account because that's all you can actually spend. Okay, Adrian, I hear you talk about this monthly average revenue the entire time. How do I identify it? Super simple. Instead of planning from your best month in business, use your average. Add the last 12 months of revenue, divide them by 12, and that's your baseline. Use this 12-month average for budgets, hiring, and owner pay. This average is the number you make decisions from because it reflects the reality of your business. Here's Mike's example. His yearly total was $180,000 last year. Divided that by 12 and he averages $15,000 a month. This $15,000 a month becomes the foundation of every financial decision Mike makes in his outdoor gear business. Okay, Adrian, now I need a system. Well, that's why I have a simple tracking system. So track payments as they arrive, separate them by source, and review monthly totals. This will create financial awareness, stability, and the ability to plan in your business. There's a false belief for business owners that goes around, which is if I make more sales, my financial problems will go away. So this is not true at all. I've worked with businesses that have doubled their revenue and still have ended up broke because they didn't control their real numbers. The problem isn't always sales, it's knowing, tracking, and protecting what you already have. Next, finding where your money is actually going. When you know your real revenue, you have half the picture. But look, you can make $100,000, $500,000, or even $1 million and still be broke if you don't know where it's going. So that's why in chapter 2, I'll show you how to find every dollar you spend and how to control it. So chapter 2, track your fixed and variable expenses. Most business owners think if I just sell more, the expense problem will solve itself. But in reality, if you don't control the expenses now, they will grow just as fast or even faster as your revenue. So you're not broke because you don't make enough. You're broke because you don't know where all the money is going. Like I said before, I've seen businesses double their revenue and still run out of cash. The reason is rarely a sales problem. It's an awareness problem. If you don't know exactly where your money goes, you can't control it. Reduce it, or grow what you keep. So here in this example, Lisa was bringing in solid revenue, but constantly felt cash strapped. When Lisa broke down her finances, $18,000 and monthly expenses down, she found that 28% were fixed expenses, 44% were variable, and 28% went to her owner pay. The surprise here was her biggest opportunity wasn't in fixed cost, it was in adjusting variable spending that scaled up when sales were up, but never scaled down when sales were slow. 44% is variable, which is easy to dial down within slow months of the business. And the owner pay stays at 28% because it's a line of its own, not buried in any expenses. So the main problem here is your money disappears and you don't know where it goes. If you can't see where your money goes, you're driving your business totally blind because small unnoticed expenses pile up over time. You get hit with surprise tax bills and you're forced into a reactive decision making instead of being in control of your business. Okay, Adrian, so what are business expenses? Expenses fall into two main categories: fixed, like rent, insurance, software subscriptions, and variable, like materials, subcontractor cost, and ad spend. So both of these matter, but variables are usually where you can find fast wins. Cost of goods sold, aka COGS, versus operating expenses. The reason I show you this is because you'll also need to distinguish COGS from operating expenses. COGS are direct costs to deliver what you sell, for example, materials and direct labor. Operating expenses are costs needed to stay open, for example, marketing, admin, utilities. So if you mix these together, you'll misread your profit margin. So here's a quick little tip I got for you guys. Fix your COGS to improve your gross margin and fix your operating expenses to improve your net margin. So here's another rule number 1. Track every business dollar that goes out. This is the golden rule because every dollar counts. If it leaves your business account, it should be tracked. The $7 coffee you buy with a business partner or the $700 software subscription that you need for your team, it doesn't matter. They both need to be tracked. Every untracked dollar is just another hole in your boat. Okay, Adrian, so how do I track all of this? So here's a monthly expense baseline formula you're able to use. Just like with revenue, we don't budget from our highest or lowest month. We use the average. So add up the last 12 months of expenses, divide them by 12, that's your baseline. This number becomes essential for knowing your true profit and spotting overspending trends in your business. Okay, Adrian, this seems amazing, but now I need a system. So look, tracking doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe once a month, sort out expenses into fixed or variable costs. Begin to watch for patterns if variable costs rise and adjust quickly. That's all you have to do for this system. As well as looking for changes when variable costs creep up, it's a sign to adjust your business. So there's another false belief that goes around for business owners is I don't need to watch expenses if I keep growing my sales. Like I said before, sales growth doesn't fix an expense problem. It actually makes it bigger. If you don't have control now, more revenue will simply give your expenses more room to grow. Several companies have basically drowned because their expenses always scaled faster than what their sales were. So here are some common mistakes I see. Ignoring small recurring charges, not separating fixed and variable, mixing personal and business expenses. These small mistakes begin to create big problems over time. For example, a $20 subscription you forgot about, that's $250 a year gone. So by not knowing which expenses are flexible, you miss quick cost-cutting opportunities. So now that you know what's coming in and where it's all going out, the next step is to learn how to read these numbers on your financial statement. Because numbers are honestly more than data, they're the entire story of your business. And if you can't read them, you cannot lead your business. So chapter 3, read the financial statements. This is where most business owners often tell me, I don't need to know that, Adrian. My accountant takes care of it. They usually tell me with this exact same look. But the truth is, if you don't understand your own numbers, you're basically flying blind. And when things start to go wrong, you'll be the last one to know because everything has already been destroyed. Your numbers tell a story that most owners can't read. You could be making sales, paying bills, and feeling confident while your business is quietly heading towards a financial cliff. If you can't read the story your numbers are telling you, you won't see the warning sign until it's too late. So your financial statements aren't just for taxes. They're a monthly report card on your business. So if you can't read them, you can't spot problems early, make smart decisions, or hold yourself accountable to your goals. Okay, Adrian, what are the financial statements I need to know? Dang. Well, here are the 3 core financial statements. The P&L shows your performance over time, income, expenses, and profit. The balance sheet is a snapshot of your business, which shows what you own, what you owe, and what's left over. And the cash flow statement shows how money moved in your business. It tells you if you made or lost cash, no matter your profit. Okay, so why do these matter? So you'll begin to see if profits are falling, if debt is rising, or if you're losing cash, all before it turns into a big crisis. So banks require clean statements for loans. Investors or buyers look at several years before they even say yes. So reading these isn't extra. It honestly just opens up way more opportunities for you. So here's an example of a profit and loss statement. So the profit and loss statement subtracts the cost of goods sold to find the gross profit. Then it subtracts the operating expenses to reveal the net profit. This is basically your scoreboard. It shows if the business model is working each month. So gross indicates pricing power and net tells us total efficiency. If gross looks good, but net is weak, the problem is your expenses, not your price. So for example here, Tom had a 66% gross margin and a 12.5% net profit margin. Okay, so now let's look into your balance sheet. Your balance sheet shows assets, which is what you own, your liabilities, what you owe, and your equity in the business. This is how you measure your financial position at a single point in time, which is a critical part of your business's health check. So this is the key. The assets must always equal the liabilities and equity. And if this equation does not match, there is something wrong in your numbers. Now let's look into the cash flow statement example. The cash flow statement shows how money flows in and out. It covers operations, investing, and financing activities. So you can have a profitable month on your P&L and still have negative cash flow. This report tells you why. It shows how money moves. You can show your profit on your P&L, but still have negative cash. For example, some red flags are negative operating cash, high financing needs, cash decreasing even with profits. So this all means that your cash engine isn't healthy yet. Here are some key ratios you should be looking at in your business all the time. And probably by this point, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff I need to know about my financial system, which is totally understandable, but you're always able to delegate the stuff and look over it at the end. So ratios make your statements more actionable. Gross margins show the efficiency in delivering your product or service. Net margins show the overall profitability, and your current ratio tells you if you have enough assets to cover your liabilities. Here are a few more ratios. These ratios right here show how well you use your resources, employees, expenses. There's basically a ratio for everything in your business that you're able to track to see what you can improve on. There's a reason why people always say numbers never lie. So Adrian, where can I even find these numbers? Well, your revenue and expenses can be found in the profit and loss statement. Your assets and liabilities can be found in the balance sheet, and your cash, aka bank balance, can be found in the cash flow report, and your employee count can be found in the payroll records. Oh my gosh, Adrian, this was so much information. How do I get a system for this? First, review your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, and your cash flow every month. First, review your profit and loss statement, aka your P&L, how it's often referred. Then your balance sheet and your cash flow statement every month, along with the key ratios that I gave you. This is how you stay in control of your business. So this is all about spotting the problems early. This way you can make small adjustments instead of rushing to solve big crises all at once. So whenever you're looking at these statements, ask yourself, is there a revenue trend? Are my gross margins steadily growing? Are there any expense spikes? Are my net margins healthy? Begin to compare them to last month on what changed and why. So here's another false belief business owners have. My accountant handles all of that for me. Well, look, accountants are very valuable, but they mostly record the past. They don't typically help you plan for the future. You can't outsource the responsibility for understanding your own numbers. Your accountant can't care about your business as much as you do, unless you're paying them a hefty amount of money. Okay, so once you can read the story your numbers are telling you, the next step is predicting what's coming in. So in chapter 4, I'm going to show you how to forecast your cash flow so you're never caught off guard by a shortage again. So chapter 4, I'm going to go over how to build a cash flow forecast. Okay, so now you know your real revenue, where your money is going, and how to read the financial story behind it. But here's the big missing piece. Being profitable doesn't guarantee you'll always have enough cash. This is where many good businesses fail, and it's why we need a simple cash flow forecasting system. Profit doesn't mean you can make payroll. Like I said, I've seen profitable companies bounce checks. Why? Because their cash flow and profit are not the same. Profit is a scorecard. Cash flow is the fuel. Profit is what's on paper. Cash is what's in the bank. Payments may come later, but bills need to be paid now. So a simple forecast matches when money arrives with when bills are due. So this is the problem. You'll never know if you'll have enough money. Without forecasting your cash, you're always reacting to cash shortages instead of preventing them. It's like driving while staring in the rearview mirror. You only see the danger after you've passed it. So Adrian, what is cash flow forecasting? A cash flow forecast is a simple tool that predicts how much money you'll have in the future. Super simple. It looks at your current cash, what's coming in, what's going out, and shows your cash position week by week, month by month. And just for you, I have a simple cash flow forecast template in the description down below that you are able to use for your business. So look, your forecast won't always be perfect. A forecast doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful, because even 70% accuracy is enough to see the trends and spot cash problems before they even happen. The goal is to see patterns, not predict the exact dollar amount down to the penny. So this is all you need for a 90-day forecast. Start with your current cash, add what's coming in, and subtract what's going out. It's so simple. The ending cash becomes your starting point for the next period. This running projection shows you if you are heading for a shortfall or a surplus in your business. Okay, Adrian, cash flow this, cash flow that. Which ones can I track? Okay, so there are only two types of cash flows. Cash flow inflows, which are payments you receive from sales, loans, or other sources, and outflows, which is everything that leaves: bills, payroll, taxes, and debt. So knowing both sides lets you control timing and manage your cash position. So here's a weekly cash flow snapshot. Begin to check your forecast weekly, ideally Monday morning for me at least. Check what's coming in and going out and adjust as needed, as well as beginning to collect overdue invoices, delay expenses, or speed up sales efforts to avoid any shortages. So there's always a false belief, and this one is, Adrian, if I'm profitable, I'll never run out of cash. This is one of the most dangerous assumptions to make in business, because profit measures success on paper, but it doesn't account for the timing in your business. You can show profit and still face a lot of cash issues when customers pay late, expenses are due together, or you're making big purchases without planning. So here are some common mistakes that I've found. Most owners either don't forecast at all, or they do it once and never update it. Others forget irregular expenses or assume all customers will pay on time. The real power comes from regular updates and realistic numbers in the business. So with the forecast in place, you can finally start paying yourself with confidence. So in chapter 5, I'll show you how to put your own income on autopilot so you're never the last one to get paid. Chapter 5, pay yourself first. So most business owners I meet put themselves last in their own business. They pay employees, contractors, vendors, even their own landlord before paying themselves. These owners believe they're being responsible, but what's actually happening is they're training their business to run without rewarding its most important contributor, aka them. So you're the only employee in your business who works for free, and that ends today. If you wouldn't work for someone else without pay, why are you doing it in your own business? Paying yourself first isn't selfish. It's how you build a sustainable business and a secure personal life. So the problem is you always pay everyone else before yourself. When you pay yourself last, you're telling yourself that your time and energy aren't as valuable as vendors or employees. It also creates a dangerous cycle when your personal finances become unstable, which then makes you more desperate for sales, which leads to bad business decisions. So Adrian, what is paying yourself first? Begin to set aside your owner pay before paying other expenses. Paying yourself first means deciding your compensation amount in advance and setting it aside before paying other expenses. This forces your business to operate within its means while guaranteeing you a consistent income over time. So Adrian, how much should I be paying myself? A common starting point I suggest is 30% of net profit, but this can also vary through your industry. So start with a percentage you can stick to, even if it's small, then raise it as your revenue increases. If 30% isn't enough for your life, don't take more from the business right away. Begin to cut on your own personal spending before you even raise the amount you're receiving. Why, you might be asking? It's because the business has to stay healthy. So here's an example of Tom's restaurant and Sarah's marketing agency. As you can see, they both took 30%, Sarah taking $3,600 a month and Tom taking $1,200 a month. So let's dive into some tax structure considerations. So here's a disclaimer. This is just general knowledge. I am not a CPA or an enrolled agent, but I do have a few on my team. So if you have any questions, go ahead and send me a message and I can get you in contact with them regarding to taxes. Your business structure affects how you pay yourself. S corporations need a fair salary and may offer profit distributions in the business. This setup can reduce self-employment taxes, so work with your tax professional to set this up for a most tax-efficient way. Self-employment taxes eat up 15.3% of your profit, which can hurt you in the long run. So here are some tips I have. If you're making $60,000 a year in net income, and if you want to reduce your self-employment tax, and if you're okay running payroll, I suggest you talk to your CPA to see if you qualify. And if you don't have one, go ahead and get in contact with me and I'll make sure to get you with a good one. So Adrian, what's the system I need to pay myself? Your owner pay should go into a separate account. This ensures clarity and protects it from accidental spending. So transfer it on a regular schedule, either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, just like payroll. So don't skip this transfer unless it's absolutely essential. Treat your pay like rent. Automatic and always on time. Well, for me at least. This consistency beats occasional large withdrawals in your business. So Adrian, what even is the psychology of me paying myself first? So when you pay yourself first, you naturally become more disciplined about controlling your expenses. It makes the business leaner and more efficient. Also, it creates personal financial stability. This begins to cut stress and improves decision-making in the business. Adrian, I'll pay myself when there's extra money. See, the thing is, there's never extra money. If you wait to pay yourself until there's leftover money, you'll always find expenses to fill the gap. Paying yourself first ensures your needs are met before anything else. So here are some common mistakes. Mixing personal and business finances is a recipe for confusion and IRS trouble. Taking random, inconsistent amounts makes it impossible to budget, and never reviewing your pay means you could be underpaying yourself for a year. Boom. So once you're paying yourself consistently, you'll need to protect that stability from one of the biggest financial shocks in the United States, which is taxes. So in the next chapter, I'll show you how to set up an automated tax system so April just feels like another month in business, not an entire crisis where you're scrambling to get money to pay what you owe. So chapter 6, set up a tax system. So one of the biggest cash flow shocks for small business owners is tax season. Too many business owners wait until April to even think about taxes. Then when the time comes, they begin to scramble to come up with any type of money for it. This chapter shows you how to build a tax system. The goal is to remove surprises so taxes feel just like another bill you've already paid. The IRS didn't suddenly invent your tax bill in April. That bill has been building all year. The reason it feels like a shock is because you didn't set money aside for it along the way. So the problem is tax season always surprises you with a big bill. Not planning for taxes actually hurts your cash flow. It can lead into debt and keeps you stressed about money. This isn't just bad for your business, it's exhausting for you personally. So what is a tax system? A tax system is simply a process you follow year-round. First, estimate what you owe. Second, set that money aside on a regular basis. And third, pay it on time so you never get hit with penalties or surprises. These numbers will help you plan, so ask your CPA to give you the real percentage so you can use it as a safe guess when you save enough. Okay, Adrian, so what is my total tax rate? So in order to know your total tax rate, this will include federal income tax, state income tax if you're in a state that makes you pay income taxes, and self-employment tax if you're not on a S corporation. Your CPA can give you an exact percentage, but if you're unsure, use a safe estimate like 30% of net profit. So here I'm going to give you a quick rundown if you're an LLC or sole proprietorship. That was a tongue twister. For federal income tax, it's roughly 12 to 37% depending on the profit level. State income tax is usually 0 to 13.9%, obviously varies by state. And self-employment tax is a simple 15.3%. So the total estimated rate might be between 27.3% to 47%. And obviously, it varies by your situation. So for S corporations, federal income tax is from 12 to 37%. State income tax is 0 to 13.9%. And there's payroll taxes of 7.65% on a salary portion only. Obviously, the total estimated rate should be from 20 to 30%, but it varies by your situation. So these are all planning ranges, so confirm your percentage with your CPA. So here's a simple tax savings formula. Multiply your net profit by your tax rate, and that's your monthly tax savings target. So this number right here should be treated like a bill you must pay every single month into your tax account. So here's how to automate it. Step 1, open a separate savings account just for your taxes. Step 2, set up automatic transfers for your monthly tax savings target. And step 3, never touch this account for anything but paying taxes. So here are some basic business tax deductions. Tracking deductions is how you keep more of what you earn. The basics include home office expenses, mileage or vehicle expenses, professional services like your accountant and marketing. Keeping those organized reduces your taxable income. And if you want a longer list, I have a simple tax savings checklist in the comments down below. So as a business owner, you do have to make quarterly tax payments. And for it being every quarter, it's usually from April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and January 15th. The point is to pay little each quarter so April doesn't feel as scary. The money is already saved in your tax account. So here's how to reduce your tax bill through planning. Okay, so taxes aren't just about compliance. They're about strategy. Meeting with your CPA quarterly lets you review your deductions, as well as planning purchases and adjust estimated payments to avoid overpaying or underpaying. I always suggest to get a second set of eyes. Always consider a second review, maybe from another CPA, an industry tax pro, or a fractional CFO each year. And the reason I say this is because the entire tax code is such a big book that not just one CPA should know. All the big time business owners have financial teams and tax teams that allow them to file taxes and find the best strategies and deductions to reduce that liability. And so not one CPA will know everything. There's always a reason you should get a second set of eyes. So here's a false belief. Adrian, I'll deal with taxes when the time comes. Man, this mindset guarantees stress, debt, and potential penalties. Waiting until the deadline means you're reacting instead of planning. A system removes all the drama and makes taxes a simple routine. So here are some common mistakes that I usually find. These mistakes lead to underfunded tax accounts, surprise bills, and IRS penalties. So to avoid any of these problems, separate your funds, get accurate rates, and pay regularly. So watch out for some warning signs. For example, cash below 2 months of expenses. Once your tax system is in place, we need to protect your profit from another silent killer, which is money leaks. So in chapter 7, I'll show you how to find and fix the hidden expenses that quietly drain your business every month. So here's chapter 7, fix the leaks. Some business owners think their cash problems come from big, obvious expenses, but the truth is it's often not the big ones that kill you. It's death by 1,000 cuts. So the small costs usually feel tiny, but together they can quietly drain and eat 10 to 20% of profit every year. So when I work with business owners, we often find hidden expenses that add up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars each month. These aren't emergencies, they're just silent. These aren't emergencies, they're just silent killers, and they're hiding in plain sight in your business. So the problem is money slowly drains out through hidden expenses. These leaks are dangerous because they don't feel urgent. You don't notice them until your profit margins are razor thin or you hit a cash crunch. By then, you've been bleeding money for months or even years. So here's a quick price sanity check. So I personally learned this from Alex Ramosi. If everyone says yes to your price, you're likely undercharging. The goal is to get more high-value clients without working as much. So check your price fit first. If nearly everyone says yes, we're likely undercharging and leaks are only expenses. So if 3 out of 10 people say yes to your pricing is usually about right. But if 6 to 8 to even 10 say yes, you're probably too cheap. So what are leaks? A leak is an expense that doesn't bring enough value for its cost. It may duplicate another payment or can be cut without harming your business. So I go by this rule that every dollar that leaves your business should either make you money, save you time, or legally be required. So here are the 5 common types of money leaks. First, subscription and software leaks. Second, vendor and service leaks. Third, process and efficiency leaks. Fourth, contract and agreement leaks. Fifth, lifestyle and convenience leaks. So from unused software to overpriced vendors, outdated contractors, or even unnecessary convenience purchases, these leaks quietly cut into your profits month after month. So here's how to find your leaks through your financial statements. The easiest way to find leaks is to pull your last 3 to 6 months of statements and highlight every reoccurring charge. If you need help, begin to ask AI by uploading your profit and loss statement and ask for flag odd trends and savings ideas. Then ask yourself, do I still use this? Could I get this cheaper? Could I eliminate it entirely? If you can't answer, this is most likely a leak in your business. So here's an expense leak audit system that I created. Once you identify the leaks, calculate how much you'll save annually by fixing them. Then either cancel the service or renegotiate the term. Even saving $100 a month equals to $1,200 a year, and often it's much more. So remember to ask yourself these 3 critical questions to every expense. Do I actually need this? What return on investment is this giving me? Or is there a cheaper way to get the same result? Here's the leak fixing process. Start with quick wins, cancel what you don't use, then negotiate existing services to get a better rate. And finally, replace or optimize costly processes with more efficient solutions. Here's another false belief that business owners say. Small expenses don't matter, Adrian. Small expenses matter because they multiply. $50 here, $75 there, $100 everywhere. Over a year across multiple categories can easily add up to thousands. That's money you could be paying yourself, reinvesting, or using to build cash reserves. So here are some common mistakes I usually see. So a lot of these leaks come from fear of canceling something you might need, or from never comparing current rates to the market. A quick review once or twice a year can eliminate this entire waste. So once you've stopped the leaks, you'll free up extra profit. So in chapter 8, I'll show you how to use that money strategically to grow your business and increase your long-term stability. So chapter 8, reinvest with purpose. When most business owners free up extra money, their instinct is either to spend it quickly or let it sit idle. But here's the problem. Without a clear plan for reinvestment, that money can vanish without creating any real growth. So in this chapter, I'll show you how to make every extra dollar work for you. Cash in your account can lead to impulse buys like unwanted gear, risky marketing, or too many hires. Without a reinvestment plan, your extra profit can disappear as quickly as it came in. So what is strategic reinvestment? Strategic reinvestment uses profit to create higher future profit. So every time you're making a decision, ask yourself this. Does it make me money, save me time, or reduce risk? And how will we measure it if it works? So the main problem here is extra profit disappears without a plan. And within months, they're back in the same tight position because they didn't direct that money towards growth or stability. So what is purposeful reinvestment? Purposeful reinvestment means using extra cash to make your business stronger and increase profits over time. There are 4 types of smart investments. First, the revenue drivers. This is ads, sales training, and lead systems. When you are investing in these, aim for a 2 to 10% return within 12 months. Second is efficiency time savers. This can be automation, better tools, and training. When investing in this, aim for a 3 to 10% return via time or error cuts. And third, capacity growth. This is for your team, inventory, or infrastructure. When investing in this, aim for a 1.5 to a 5x return on investment as demand fills. And fourth is risk reduction. For example, insurance, legals, backups, and reserves. This is in order to prevent big losses. These are the expected returns you should be getting when you reinvest back into the business. So this is the investment priority framework I created. Follow this order. Start by building at least 3 months of business reserves, then reduce high interest debt to improve cash flow. Once you're stable, invest in projects that generate profit. And finally, move some of that profit into personal wealth building. So before you spend $1, know when you expect it to return and by when. Track the results so you can see if that investment is performing or if the money should be redirected somewhere else. So here's an investment decision process that I created with 5 simple questions. So before buying anything, ask yourself, what problem does this solve? How will we measure its success? What is the expected ROI and by when? What is the cost of not doing it? And is there a cheaper, more effective way? So here's a quarterly investment review I recommend. Measure the actual ROI on last quarter's investments. Keep what works and stop what doesn't. And if you need to adjust the plan, schedule big bets for the next quarter. Another false belief is, Adrian, any business expense is an investment in growth. Wrong, because not all spending is an investment. A real investment returns more than what it costs, as well as it being measured and not guessed. So without a plan, you're hoping your spending pays off in some type of way. So here are some common mistakes that I found. Skipping the reserve step leaves you vulnerable. Not tracking your ROI means you could be pouring money into things that don't work. And forgetting about your personal wealth could lead to a great business, but you may miss out on financial security. So as we went over, purposeful reinvestment is powerful, but it works best when it's part of a consistent monthly habit. In chapter 9, I'll give you the 10-5-3-1 method, a 30-minute process you can use every month to keep your business profitable for the long run. So chapter 9, the 10-5-3-1 method. So by now you've built a foundation, you know your real revenue, your expenses, and how to read your numbers, as well as how to plan for your cash. But information alone doesn't keep you profitable, consistency does. That's where the 10-5-3-1 method comes in. This is just a simple monthly habit that takes just 30 minutes and keeps your business profitable forever. Because remember, you can't grow what you can't see. One 30-minute monthly habit can keep your business profitable forever. If you do this process every month, you'll spot problems early, fix them before they become big, and keep your profit margins healthy without constant stress. So the problem here is you don't review often enough to catch problems early. Most business owners review their numbers at tax time only, which is basically like checking your smoke detectors after the fire has already started. By the time you realize something is wrong, it's too late to prevent it. So Adrian, what is the 10-5-3-1 method? Step 1, the 10 review. Review the last 10 weeks of income, identify the revenue trends, and spot slowdowns early. The 10 review lets you see patterns. If revenue is trending down, you can respond with targeted sales efforts instead of being caught off guard. Step 2, the 5 audit. Review margins on your top 5 offers, flag anything under a 30% margin, and adjust pricing or delivery. The 5 audit ensures you're focusing on profitable work. If something's under 30% margin, fix the pricing, reduce the cost, or drop the offer altogether. Step 3, the 3 forecast. Update your 3-month cash flow forecast and adjust for changes in income or expenses. Updating your forecast monthly means you always know what's coming in. You'll spot the potential shortages months in advance, giving you time to adjust. Step 4, the 1 salary. Keep owner's pay consistent, adjust only for planned raises. Your salary should be steady. This protects your finances and keeps your lifestyle stable. If you only pay yourself when there's extra money, like we went over again, you'll never have stability. So what does each number tell you? 10 shows your real performance and trends. 5 shows which offers actually make money. 3 is if a cash crunch is coming. And 1 is if the business can support your life. So here are some red flags you're able to catch early. The 10, profit failing, messy income patterns, or an expense creep you see coming up. From 5, unprofitable offers, pricing problems, or cost control issues. From 3, upcoming cash gaps, seasonal dips, growth constraints. And from 1, salary that's not sustainable. So a false belief I commonly see is, Adrian, I only need to look at my numbers once or twice a year. That's exactly how small issues become big, expensive problems. A monthly check-in helps you stay in control. It lets you change direction quickly and prevents small leaks from turning into floods. So here are some common mistakes I see. If you begin to skip months, you lose momentum. If you only look at sales, you might be growing in unprofitable work. And if you don't update your forecast, you're guessing instead of planning. Next, your weekly money routine. The easiest way. So the 10-5-3-1 method keeps you profitable month after month. But to really master your finances, you need a simple weekly routine that takes 15 minutes and keeps you sharp. And that's the next chapter. So chapter 10, weekly money routine and implementation. So monthly reviews are essential, but in business, things can change fast. Waiting 30 days to spot a problem can mean you're already in trouble. That's why I recommend a 15-minute weekly routine to keep you in control year-round. 15 minutes a week can save you thousands in mistakes. Most owners think they don't have time for a weekly check-in, but skipping it is far more costly. A brief session each week can stop missed bills, overdraft fees, and avoid panic in general. So the main problem here is issues build up between monthly reviews. Look, a lot can happen in 4 weeks. Unexpected expenses, delayed payments, surprise charges. But if you only check once a month, you'll miss the opportunity to make quick fixes before they become big problems. So here's the weekly money routine you should be running. Every week, spend 15 minutes to check bank balances, review incoming payments, review outgoing payments, and plan for upcoming week. This process is super simple. Check your account balances, confirm what's coming in, and review what's going out, and make a quick plan for the next week ahead. So here's the implemented 30-day sprint that I've created. Commit to 4 weeks of weekly reviews by tracking improvements in cash stability. See, the fastest way to make this stick is to commit to 4 weeks in a row. Most owners notice more cash stability within the first month because they're making better decisions with current information. So week 1 is the foundation week. Pull 12 months of bank statements, calculate the monthly revenue average, categorize the last 3 months of expenses, either fixed or variable, set up the tracking, and do your first 15-minute weekly routine by setting a calendar reminder. Week 2 is cash flow control. Build your first 90-day cash flow forecast, which allows you to flag any gaps or any new opportunities coming up. Set up a weekly cash position by monitoring it, and make your first consistent owner payment. Week 3 is for taxes and leaks. Meet with your CPA or use a 30% estimate when it comes to taxes. Remember to open a tax savings account and automate the transfers. And audit your last 3 months worth of expenses. For example, cancel something, downgrade something, or market check between any big costs within your industry. And week 4 is when you master the system. Run your full 10-5-3-1 review, plan reinvestment from leak savings, and begin to schedule your monthly reviews. That way you have a plan that your financial team needs. So here's the ongoing monthly routine you should do every month, which is basically for 30 minutes, do the 10-5-3-1 method, like I explained. For 10 minutes, make sure you have a tax system check. For 15 minutes, make sure you have an expense leak check. And for 20 minutes, look at some investment planning on what you're able to plan and invest in to grow your business. Another false belief is, Adrian, I don't have time for a weekly review. If you don't think you have time, ask yourself this. Do you have time to fix cash crises, scramble for last minute payments, or deal with any overdraft fees? See, look, a weekly review takes less time than dealing with the fallout of skipping it. So here are some common mistakes I usually see. Skipping a week because you're busy defeats the entire purpose. That's when problems are most likely to slip in. And just glancing at balances without checking transactions can hide issues like duplicated charges or fraud. So your weekly and monthly habits keep you in control, but as your business grows, you can't do it all yourself. And in chapter 11, I'll show you exactly where and how to build a financial team that supports you while you focus on growth. So chapter 11, build your financial team. When you're starting, you don't have to wear every hat. You're the CFO, bookkeeper, and tax preparer all in one. But if you do everything yourself, as your business grows, you'll eventually hit a wall because you'll be too busy working in your business to work on it. So you'll eventually switch from owner as CFO to a CEO. If you're doing everything yourself, you're not a CEO, you're an overworked bookkeeper. A true CEO focuses on strategy, growth, and leadership, not on entering any receipts or chasing any invoices. So build your financial support team now. This way you can focus on running your business entirely like a CEO. So here I have every team member you should have from the 100K range to a 500K range. And I personally believe a fractional CFO should be in all of them just to give you the simple financial needs that you need. As revenue grows, your role must change. So the main problem here is doing everything yourself slows growth. By managing all the financial details, you waste hours on tasks that others can do quicker and better. That time could go into growth activities like sales calls, partnerships, and marketing. These tasks help increase revenue. So when should you hire for help? So the typical milestones is at 100K plus, you begin to hire a part-time bookkeeper. At 250K plus, you add a tax strategist and a CPA for quarterly planning. And at 500K, you hire a controller or have some CFO support as well. The CFO will help with forecasting, budgeting, and strategic planning. So what even are the roles in the financial team? A bookkeeper tracks transactions and reconciles accounts. A CPA/tax strategist handles compliance and tax planning. A controller manages reporting, oversees bookkeeping, and a CFO guides financial strategy and decision making. So you have to build this team over time. You don't need all these roles at once. Start with an outsourced part-time to help free up your time. As your business grows, add more advanced roles, but always maintain oversight over everything, even when you delegate the task. So what are the benefits of a financial team? So a financial team gives you accurate, timely data so you can make better financial decisions. They catch mistakes you miss and free you to focus on the work that grows your business. So a false belief is hiring help is way too expensive. In reality, the cost of not hiring help is higher. Every hour you spend on bookkeeping instead of selling costs you far more in lost revenue than you're saving by doing it yourself. So here are some common mistakes I see on this. If you wait until you're drowning in admin work, you've already slowed your growth. Set clear expectations when hiring, then even after delegating, review the work often to stay on track. You've now seen all the parts of a financial system, from understanding your real revenue to building your financial team, but having the knowledge and actually implementing it are two different things. The quickest way to see results isn't by figuring it out alone. Like I said before, you need to start off with a team. For example, me and my business partner. Here's our offer. My business partner and I will personally review your books line by line and find at least $10,000 in extra savings hidden profit, or missed tax deductions. Completely for free, no strings attached, no catch. If we can't find at least $10,000, we will donate $300 to a charity of your choice. Adrian, how does this work? It's because your books already have hidden money. See, once you have financial professionals look at your business and analyze it, you'll see that there's thousands of dollars just sitting there that could be going into the business or back to you. So we're only taking a limited number of clients every month because we want to work with everyone directly. So if you would like a free $10,000 savings review for your business, go ahead and click on my website down below. It will be the first link in the description, and book an appointment with us, and we'll see if you're a right fit for us to work with you. Other than that, I hope everyone was able to learn a lot. And remember, the guide is down below, the book a call is down below, the template and the checklist is down below. So go ahead and click on those links and I'll send everything to you. You guys take care.